Welcome to another episode, everybody, of Thunder Sports Pod with JT and
The stash, baby. We back at it again. Football
yeah.
season is here.
Yes, sir. About time. I'm ready for college football and NFL to simultaneously be going on at the same time. So we're about to dive into some topics, everybody, and let us know down below what you think. So NFL Week One predictions. We already did them on our TikTok channel, but kind of just summarizing, we'll go ahead and talk about that.
All right, JT. Well, I took Kansas City, so I've got a 1-0 lead right now.
You
So
did.
I do. I've got Kansas City. I got Green Bay over Philly. I've got the Steelers over the Falcons. I've got the Bills over the Cardinals. Bears over the Titans. Bengals over the Patriots, even though I know their wide receivers are looking a little slim right now. I got the Texans beating the Colts at home. I've got Miami over the Jags. I've got my upset of the week because you know I love my upsets. You got to pick one a week. I'm taking
Yeah.
Carolina with Dave Canales over the Saints week one.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
I've got your Vikings upsetting the Giants in New York.
Mm.
I think y'all. I think Sam Darnold's gonna have a nice little game. He's gonna get Jetta definitely involved, and I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see how Aaron Jones does for your team.
Oh yeah, me too.
I got this team is the team I will be rooting for in the AFC this season. I am pulling for the Raiders. I'm hoping they do
Oh,
well.
really?
I'm pulling for the Raiders this season in the AFC. Unless they play Tampa this year, so that one week I will not be rooting for them. But I'm hoping they do well. I'm hoping they can get a second spot. I'd love if they could knock out Kansas City.
Hey, that'd be something.
I've got Seattle over the Bronchies. No surprise on that. I got Dallas beating Cleveland. I think Cleveland's defense is just going to get really tired. I got my not no bias but I've got my Bucks over the Washington Commanders. I've got the
Yeah.
Lions over the Rams, but I will say I almost took the Rams on this one. I have this sneaky
Mm.
suspicion they might pull it off. And then on
They
Monday
might.
night, I'm taking the champion of the AFC this year, the New York Jets.
Mm. I like them. We do have some similar games. We have a couple that are definitely different. So I'm 0-1 already, guys. At the start of the video, I picked the Ravens to beat the Chiefs. I was wrong on that. Tonight we got the Packers taking on the Eagles. I got the Eagles winning this game. So two different answers right off the bat. But also, I believe you had the Steelers. I've got the Falcons in this game on Sunday. So three completely different answers. Although I think we're back on track. I got Buffalo beating the Cardinals here. And then I've got upset of the week for me is the Titans over Chicago. I think it's going to happen. I could be completely wrong, but
I don't hate the take. I mean, I do think that the Titans' defense definitely improved last season. They got Snead. I think they've made some really good adjustments. They did help their wide receivers core, so they did get Will
mm,
Levis, their rookie they drafted last year, some help finally. I don't hate the take. I just do. I just don't know if they're going to be able to cover Keenan Allen, Romeo Dunze, and DJ Moore with Swift in
sure.
the backfield. I think it's just going to be really difficult to do. So that's why I took the Bears on this one. But I definitely know I see what you're saying on this about
Mhm.
that defense. And Will Levis could have made a big step in the offseason. We don't know yet.
Exactly. I think it'll be closer than what a lot of people expect. But next game going forward, we have the Bengals and Patriots. I've got the Bengals winning this game, although T. Higgins and Jamar Chase might not play on Sunday, guys. So we'll have to wait and see. I've got the Texans over the Colts. I think CJ Stroud and that entire team gets rolling week one. Jags, Dolphins. I got Miami in this one. Carolina, New Orleans. See, this one was really, really close for me. I think they'll split the season series, but since it's at home, I've got the New Orleans Saints winning this game. I think Kamara has a huge game on the ground, and the Saints start off 1-0. The Minnesota Vikings, I'm trying to be real here. I think they could struggle versus that Giants defensive line, but other than that, I don't think they'll have much of a problem. I think Jay Jettas will be fine against that secondary. Um, and then the only big question I've got is how well the Vikings defense will be matched up against that Giants offense because there's not a whole lot of guys on the Giants team right now that scare me offensively. So besides maybe Malik Neighbors, but I think our corners could do enough damage on him to where we don't have to bracket him down the field.
They
So
they definitely got a nasty D line. They have a really good D line. I
mhm.
mean, the rest of their team's not super great, but Neighbors definitely did look really good in training camp and in preseason.
Mhm.
So I give a lot of credit on there. I think he's gonna be good. I'm excited to see him this season. But like I said, I think y'all should be able to get that rolling. That if you can hold the D line off, I think you can pick up. Sam Darnold can torch their secondary pretty easily.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, if he's got time, we've got some solid weapons. So I certainly believe that we could put the points up on their defense if given enough time down the field. Moving on to the next game, I got the Chargers over the Raiders. Did you pick the Raiders?
I picked the Raiders on that one.
Okay. I've got the Chargers. I got the Chargers in this one. Next matchup, Seattle and Denver. I've got Seattle, but we both agreed on that. Dallas taking on the Browns. This could be the game of the week. Um, For me personally, I think it's going to be back and forth, but I've got Dallas winning this on the road. Washington versus your Tampa Bay Bucks. I think that defense is severely underrated for Washington, led by Dan Quinn now. That's going to be very intriguing to see how they go about their business this year. But I like y'all at home. I think the offensive firepower, the cohesiveness, the chemistry is too much to handle. Rams and Detroit Lions. Very interesting. Week one storylines already. Stafford going back to his former team and taking on the Lions at home. I like the Lions. I think they're just too much to handle. And then this could be the game of the week, but I like the Dallas and Cleveland matchup a little bit better. But the Jets taking on the Niners. I think it'll be close as well, but give me the Niners at home.
My only thing about the Commanders is they like got rid of everybody last year. Like that,
Hmm.
when you lose Montez Sweat and Chase Young in the same year to like trade them off, I was very shocked on that. They
That's
do
true.
have their secondary. They have one really good corner. The other one's okay. I am excited to see how Jaden Daniels does though. That part I'm excited
Mhm.
to see. It's rookie. A lot of times rookies don't play well in their debuts. It's happened quite often. I mean that's fair. That's one of the reasons I think you also picked Tennessee over Chicago. They
Yeah.
definitely struggle. So what to see? I
Exactly.
think I think the Commanders could get definitely a few wins this season, but
Oh
I
yeah.
think I think it may be another year before they start fighting for that division spot.
Mhm. Yes, sir. But that is our week one NFL predictions. We'll see week to week who has the better record after each week. We'll be keeping up with it. And you guys let us know. Do you agree or disagree with our predictions? But we'll go ahead and move on to the next topic at hand. Justin Jefferson climbing the leaderboard in Minnesota Vikings all time receiving yard history. He's currently going to be fourth after this season. He's 783 yards away from Adam Thielen to pass him as the highest all time in Vikings history. So, how high up do you think Jay Jettis is able to go?
I think this is like a tremendous feat. He should definitely be able to pass as long as no injuries persist. 783 yards. He should definitely get this season. I know a
Mhm.
lot of people are worried with Sam Darnold, but like Sam Darnold's a vet. He's been in the league for a while, and you're giving him arguably the best wide receiver in football. Like I mean, Jetta was the best wide receiver in football year prior. Tyree took it last year, but like still, like this guy has made his name and an impact. How many years did Thielen play for y'all?
I want to say probably like 6 or 7.
6 or 7. And what's this? That he's Jetta going into his fifth year.
Yeah.
That's pretty talented. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Mhm.
I mean, he even got the 7,000 yards last year after he missed like 7 games. So I mean, that was
Mhm.
that was an incredible feat. I wasn't sure if he was gonna get it, having to miss all those games and with Kirk going down. But hey, he still ended up getting it. I think this is a lot. Maybe he passes like Chris Carter and Moss, but
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see. I
we'll just
hope
wait and
so.
see on that. Moss, Chris Carter's actually gonna be the harder one, I think, because I think he's got more
Yeah,
yards than
he's
Moss.
he's number one. Yeah,
But
definitely going to be harder for him
I don't
to
I don't know if he's got
break
better
that.
hands than Carter though. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Carter was different, man. I
Carter's
don't.
Carter's probably got to me got still he's still got the second best hands of all time, but like you're still second. Like that's a
Mhm.
tremendous feat. Like people want to say like, oh, John Montana's the second best QB all time. I'm like, yeah, that's a huge feat no matter how you look at it.
Yeah,
Being number two is a huge feat.
exactly. But hey, guys, let us know down below. Do you think Justin Jefferson passes Adam Thielen and becomes the fourth highest receiving yard leader in Viking history? Moving on, we got a little interesting game. We're going to rank every NFL division by their quarterbacks, 1 through 4. So let's start off with NFC East. NFC East. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. I'm in total agreement. I think you nailed it right there. I like Dak Prescott a little bit better than Jalen Hurts. I've got 1 Dak, 2 Jalen, and then 3. I mean, unproven players. Jaden Daniels. I mean, you got to put him at last. So Danny Dimes. I mean, it's been pretty rough in New York, but I'll put you above the Rook.
Yeah, just for this season, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe Danny Dimes returns to Vanilla Vic and balls
Yeah.
out, but we'll
Have to wait
see.
and see. I mean, he's with Kay Adams now, so maybe that'll light a fire under his belly. So we'll move on to the next division, NFC West.
NFC West. If I'm being honest, give me Stafford one. Give me Purdy two.
Mhm.
Give me.
Kyler.
I want to say Kyler. I'm going to say Kyler, but I'm gonna be real. It's not that far off. He's been hurt.
So
He's had a lot of injuries. If you got to stay on the field for me, like that's a
yeah.
huge thing. If you're hurt, like I don't care how good you are. If you're hurt all the time, you're not producing. So
Mhm.
yeah, give me Kyler right now, but maybe after this year, and now that he has Marvin Harrison Jr., maybe he can get it rolling a
Yeah.
little better. But injuries have plagued him. I remember when he was one of the best teams, like when Arizona was one of the best teams in the NFC a couple of years ago, and it's just been a drop off since then with the injury. So I'm hoping they can get it rolling. I'll take
Mhm.
Kyler at 3 and then Gino, but it's closer than I want it to be. It shouldn't be close, but right now to
Yeah.
me it is kind of is.
Oof. I mean, after this year, it may change. You never know. I mean,
Yeah.
health wise, people can get rolling finally. But I've got Matthew Stafford at 1, Brock Purdy at 2, Kyler at 3, and Gino at 4 as well. We have the same list so far. Um, I think Gino could be above Kyler if he has a really good year this season, but a
If
healthy
Kyler
Kyler,
if Kyler goes down
yeah,
again, I'm putting Gino above him. I'm
yeah.
tired of the
I mean, I
injuries.
agree. But a healthy Kyler Murray, people forget how lethal he is. With Marvin Harrison Jr., I think that dynamic duo will do numbers this season. So I've got Kyler Murray at 3, but he honestly could overtake Brock Purdy depending on how well Purdy does this year with the Niners.
I need Kyler to make the playoffs then if he's going to try and get
Yeah.
above Purdy because if he doesn't make the playoffs, he's not going above Purdy for me.
Well, what if he has a substantially better season statistically?
Then
Would you put
Purdy,
him above?
yeah, he has to have like a way better year than
Yeah.
Purdy, and I just don't see that happening.
Mhm. I think it's closer than what people think though. Like Kyler and Brock. I mean, if
It's
Kyler plays,
hard.
it's a hypothetical. It's what if Kyler Murray can stay healthy?
Yeah, and like Purdy can stay healthy. We've
Yeah.
watched that. And and a lot of like that's one of my big things. Like if you staying healthy and you stay on the field, you make the impact for your team. I
Mhm.
take that over your peak games that you guys have. Like I'll take a guy who throws 250 every game and 2 touchdowns over a guy who's going
Yeah.
to have 3 games. He's going to have 400 yards.
Your best ability is your availability.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, we'll move on to the next division. Your division, the NFC South. What do you got?
I'm taking Baker Mayfield as the number one, and I've got reasons for this. Baker is younger. Baker has been in the system for a year. I think that Kirk Cousins is coming into a great system. I think you got Raheem Morris, who's probably going to let him make most of the calls on the offensive side of the ball. But I do worry because he is a 35-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles tear,
Mhm.
and I know Rodgers is too. But like we can't sit here and compare say they're the same like
Yeah.
quarterbacks. I think Kirk Cousins had a great he was on a MVP level season last year before he got
Yeah.
injured. My only thing with that is I think on the offensive side of the ball, the Vikings were better. You do have Bijan, but like Bijan and Eric Jones have a difference. But I think Jetta and Addison versus their wide receivers are way bigger of a difference.
Yeah, 100%.
So, and I think y'all's O line was better. I think their defense this year will be better than y'all's, than like the Vikings were last year. But
Mhm.
I'm not sold on it yet, and it's his first year in the system. Maybe he, I would be more willing probably next year to be able to say, yeah, Kirk's better.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have Baker as the best QB in the NFC South last year by any means. I had Bryce Young actually thinking I thought he was going to ball out, but oh well, we saw how that turned out.
Oh man. Well,
Uh,
they got some weapons around him now.
give me, give me Kirk Cousins at 2.
Yeah,
Give me Bryce Young at 3.
I like it.
And Derek Carr at 4, because Derek Carr, you've had one good year your entire career. One good year. You made it to the playoffs one time. I
Yeah.
cannot justify putting you above anybody else in this division. I would rather take the second year who had no help last season than Derek Carr.
I mean, he has more upside. You got to think about it like Derek Carr. He's he doesn't have he has Kamara and Chris Olave, but it doesn't really matter when he can't do anything with it. If you're not utilizing your weapons, if you're performing, he's towards the back end of his career anyways. He doesn't have a whole lot left in the league, in my opinion, as to where Bryce Young, number one overall pick, second year in the system, got more weapons around him in Carolina. I like your reasoning. So my list is a little different. I've got Kirk Cousins at number one. I do think it's close though. I think Baker, like you mentioned, younger. He a little bit more mobile, certainly, especially coming off the Achilles tear with Kirk. But I do think Kirk is more accurate. He throws the ball with more precision. Arm strength is about the same. Baker maybe has a little bit stronger of an arm, but I do like Kirk in this system a little bit more than Baker. But I think it's really close. I think it's just a matter of slight numbers,
No,
like a couple touchdowns
no. If you
difference
you
this
taking
year.
Kirk, I definitely get like, especially someone who's watched a lot of Kirk. I
Yeah,
definitely understand the reasoning for it. No, 100%. I'm just that injury definitely worries me some.
that's the thing, and I'm expecting him to come back to somewhat of the form he was last year before he got hurt. Um, and if that injury, you know, anywhere hampers his play, that's going to be a huge, huge loss for the Falcons offense because if he's not able to move out of the pocket at all, we'll have to wait and see. Because Kirk has never been mobile, but he's been mobile enough to get out of pressure before.
No, definitely. Like it's kind of like what's his face on that if you think about it. Like Jared Goff. Like Jared Goff is
Mhm.
not a mobile QB, but like sometimes you'll see him run, you're like, whoa, he's a little
Yeah,
quicker than I expected him to be.
exactly. Sneaky athletic. But number two, I've got Baker Mayfield. Number three, I've got Bryce Young, like we've talked about already. And four, Derek Carr.
So we're pretty much in agreement on this one
Yeah.
too. Uh, I like that actually. Yeah. No,
Good.
I think the Falcons could be really good. I am worried about Kirko Chains. He
Yeah.
could. I mean, he could return to his former self.
We'll have to wait and see.
Oh yeah. I hope not.
NFC North, last division in the NFC.
Ooh. Right now, you're asking me this right now, right?
Hmm.
Okay. I'm gonna take Goff number one.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. For this
Okay.
right now, because I think he was better than Love last year.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
as we talked about, like how I feel about like the Packers and Love this season, I think next year we will have a different conversation. But
Oh,
as of right
yeah.
now, I'm taking Goff 1. I'm taking Love 2. Williams Williams has not played yet. Same thing. It's all rookies. I'm gonna be like that with. I'm gonna
Yeah.
take Sam Bradford and then Caleb. Until Caleb plays, I can't be honest with like give you an honest answer on it.
Yeah. Um, we have a little bit of a different list. I'll share you
You take Love.
my thoughts real quick. So,
Oh.
Sam Darnold number one. I'm flat.
Whoa,
I'm
whoa,
flat.
whoa. Okay, okay.
No, whoa. But I do think Jordan Love is the best quarterback in this division. Although we have yet to see a great sample size from him, I do think he's better than Jared Goff slightly. Goff has been extremely consistent so far in his career with Detroit, but Jordan Love has the youngest team in all of football. So
No.
young talent, only going to continue to grow and develop. I'm putting Love at one, Goff at two for obvious reasons. The gap between two and three is astronomical. Um, Three, I do like putting rookies at last until we see them play. However, I do feel like the talent gap between Sam Darnold and Caleb Williams is pretty significant. So I do think Caleb Williams is going to have a better season than Sam Darnold. Therefore, I'm putting Williams at 3 and Darnold at 4.
That's not bad. I understand. I just for me, rookies are so hard to like because
Yeah.
there's a lot of rookies that bust. How many? I mean, let's go back to Trevor Lawrence's draft class for a second. Yeah.
Let's forget about that one real quick.
Let's forget about that one. Yeah, that was pretty. So
Forget about it. Yeah.
that's
Mac
what I'm saying.
Jones, Justin Fields.
Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, who I still don't, I'm not sold on. Maybe this year, maybe he finally shows me something,
Yeah.
but I doubt it. But now I get it. Love, I think, will be after this year. Like I said, he's my MVP, so I definitely would say Love after this year is going to be a better golf. But I was going to wait one more year on it, even though he's going to win the Super Bowl.
All right. AFC time. AFC South.
AFC South. Ooh. Give me Stroud 1. I need. Give me the T Law 2
Yeah.
for now. Maybe Anthony Richardson. Give me Anthony Richardson at 3. I think the upside of him is going to be so massive.
Hmm.
And give me Levis at 4. Which I don't think Levis is that bad.
Yeah.
I don't think he's that bad of a QB. I don't think he's had the best opportunity so far. So yeah, I'll take Stroud, T Law, Richardson, and Levis. Mayo man.
I'm actually in agreement with you full-heartedly on this exact order. I think it's CJ Stroud, obviously number 1 in the division. Number 2, I like Trevor Lawrence. We hate on Trevor Lawrence. I shouldn't say hate, but we are very hard on Trevor Lawrence here, especially you. For obvious reasons, he's the number 1 overall pick, and he's yet to really fulfill being the number 1 overall pick in that draft. But with great weapons around him this year, if he can stay healthy, if that entire team, if that offense starts rolling, we could see him put up some good numbers. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Whenever he is healthy, he plays pretty solid. I'll put him at 2. And number 3, Anthony Richardson. He got hurt last year, but I do think the upside of him and his ability is better than what Will Levis has showcased so far. So I've got AR at 3 and Will Levis at 4. Like you mentioned it. I mean, Levis is not a bad quarterback by no means. He's just in a very competitive and young quarterback room in the AFC South.
No, I'm in agreement. Like we're pretty even on this one. I think Stroud really impressed me last year. I know I know some people I know I was kind of iffy on him. I wasn't sure how he was going to play, but like now I'm very glad the Panthers took Bryce Young instead of CJ Stroud. Though.
Oh, I bet. I can only imagine. But we'll move on to the next division, AFC East.
AFC East. I'm gonna take Josh Allen, number 1.
Mhm.
The youth he has, the mobility he has. My biggest complaint, and I remember we talked about this before with Dak. My biggest issue with Dak going into last season was the interception ratio.
Yeah,
He was terrible with his picks. Dak arguably could have been MVP last year.
true.
He had a lot of tutties. He played really well. The defense definitely helped him out a lot with Dallas too, being so good, and a lot of returns for touchdowns by what's his face. But yeah, give me the Bills. Josh Allen is the best quarterback in that division at this moment in time.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta see something out of him. Or man's just gonna be end up being Phillip Rivers for the Chargers. But give me Rodgers too, because I think Rodgers can still ball out. I don't dislike Tua, but I don't like the fact that he struggles in the cold, and I don't like the fact that part of me feels like he's a system QB. I feel like you could put it on. Like Mike White balled out last year for a game with him, and like a lot of people say that Purdy is like a system QB. And for me, I think Tua's in the same situation. I think Tua just has a lot of good weapons around him. I still think he's a top 20 QB,
Yeah.
but I think he's like 17.
Hmm.
So for me, I'm gonna put Tua at there, and then Jacoby Brissett at 4.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Tua is more of a game, not when you think about it, Tua is more than a game manager compared to Brock Purdy, in my opinion. Um, they're both kind of in the same scenario, though. When you think about it, though, they got great weapons on the outside, good head coaches, pretty good defenses. I mean, San Fran's defense is remarkably, I would say, quite a bit better than Miami's, but you get the point. I think Tua has a stronger arm, has to do a little bit more than what Brock Purdy is doing. But my order, let's get to it. My order. I would go Josh Allen easily at 1, 2 Rodgers, 3 Tua, and 4 uh, Drake May eventually. But if it's Jacoby Brissett
No, so we
right
got the
now,
same order. I think
yeah,
Rodgers could. I think Rodgers could be the best QB in that division if he returns healthy. But again, same thing with Kirk Cousins. I mean, he is
yeah,
40, coming off an Achilles.
hmm
But he did make a super speedy recovery.
it's true.
Rodgers did, which I thought was crazy. Um,
Yeah,
so I think Rodgers could be. I don't see Tua being better than Rodgers or Josh Allen this year, though. Or definitely not
yeah,
Jacoby Brissett. And I kind of like the fact that May and Milton are both sitting. I like the fact that they get to like just sit and learn. I think that's not a bad idea, especially if you want, because I mean it is the Patriots, and I think this is like look what happened last time he did it.
facts. Honestly, I think it's good for the rookies to sit and not have to be thrown into a situation where they're dumpster away. Like you mentioned, just to sit, learn, grow, and be prepared. That's what Mahomes did with Alex Smith, and look, he's at right now. So we'll go and move on to the AFC West next. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking Patty Mahomes number one. I'm taking I'm going to take Justin Herbert two.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm taking Gardner Minshew at three and Bo Nix at four.
Yep.
I think that I'll be real. I think Minshew for the Raiders could be like a little like sneaky. Because like people say what you want about Gardner Minshew, he was this close to a playoff game last year and
Yeah, he
keeping the
was. He
Texans
was
out.
close.
It was super super close. So I don't like you can't discredit that. That was like really impressive. So I take that. I think that's a good option. So I take, but I don't think Gardner Minshew is going to be better than Herbert. So even
Mhm.
though I like the Raiders team better,
Yeah.
because in my standing, I think Raiders finished second and then Chargers finished third. Uh, but yeah, I would. That's how I'd go. Patty, and then it'd be Herbert, Minshew, and then Nix, Bo Nix.
I like that order. I mean, Bo Nix, unproven rookie. Um, of course, Mahomes for me, number 1. Number 2, we got Justin Herbert, Herb. 3, Garner Minshew, and 4, Bo Nix. I mean, Minshew has the opportunity to do some great things this year in that Raiders offense. I mean, you got Brock Bowers, Devontae Adams, Zamir White in the running back.
I like Zamir White a lot.
He's going to be solid for them this year. He's a powerful runner, runs with a lot of steam, and I think he could put up some good numbers this year for that offense. But we'll have to wait and see what that defense does for Raiders. A little questionable right there, but um, I do like the upside more so of Gardner Minshew over Aiden O'Connell, and of course the top two guys, Mahomes and Herbert, and last Bo Nix.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, Patty's the best QB in football. There's no doubt in anybody's mind. If you don't think Patty Mahomes is the best QB in football, you're lying to yourself.
Yeah. All right, last division, AFC North. Who you got?
I'm taking Lamar. I'm taking Joe Shiesty. I'm taking Russell Wilson, and I'm taking Deshaun Watson in that order. Russ has been to two Super Bowls. He's still in the league today, and he's still getting a starting spot. I think he played better last year than he did the previous year with Denver. I thought his stats were actually a lot better.
Hmm.
So and like with what he had, like again, Jerry Judy's not even on the team anymore. Let's think about that. He's in
Facts.
Cleveland. So yeah, I'd go in that order. I'm going Lamar, Joe Shiesty, and like the reason is like Lamar's ability to move on the field is far better. But I do think Burrow has the better IQ and the better arm.
Hmm.
Uh, but my, you gotta have some hardware, man. Like that plays a big factor too. Like I think Lamar is the better overall athlete, but I don't think there's very few people in this league I think have a higher IQ than Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
But he's got two MVPs to one Super Bowl appearance. Maybe I'd be looking at different if they got that dub, but like right now he's got yeah. I'm going with Lamar over Shiesty, even though I like Shiesty way more than Lamar. You know how I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
about Lamar.
Oh man. So, if you'd asked me this last year at this same exact point, I would have easily said Burrow over Lamar. But now that Lamar has two MVPs, it's hard to overlook that. So, I love my boy Burrow, but I'm going Lamar at one. I've got Burrow at two. Number three, I have. That's tough because they're both about the same. If I'm being real, they haven't showed a lot of promise in the last couple of years. I'm going Russell Wilson at three and four, Deshaun Watson. If they're both healthy, I like the upside of Russ better than Deshaun. I don't think Deshaun's ever going to get back to the form that he was in Houston, where he was a top five quarterback in the league. Um, and we'll see. The supporting cast in Cleveland is better, though, I will say. Um, but imagine if Ayuk was traded to the Steelers like you always wanted that to happen. They got George Pickens, Najee Harris, Pat Fryermuth, but the Browns, they have a healthy Nick Chubb when he gets back, Amari Cooper, and Jerry Judy, and that defense is amazing as well. So,
I mean,
plus they got David Njoku.
they do have David Njoku, who I'm a huge fan of David Njoku. If you're seeing this, David, I'm a huge fan. Uh, but I don't know. I think I think Russ is gonna be better. Just Russ has played the last 2 years. That's
Yeah.
one thing. Uh, Deshaun hasn't hardly played in like I mean, what are we going on third year? He's hardly played. I mean, I think after his contract, I don't know if any team's gonna pick him up.
No. I mean, that contract was pretty rough too. All that guaranteed money with all the, we all know what went down. So, enough about that. All right, guys. So, what did you think about our divisional quarterback rankings? One through four for every division. Appreciate you guys. I hope you've enjoyed the rankings. But we'll move on to the next topic at hand. So, who were your favorite childhood running backs growing up watching? Top
Uh,
three.
Ooh. So I from my childhood, I watched some pretty good running backs in my day. Uh, so Jerome Bettis is on this list. I'm a big
Mm,
Jerome Bettis. I thought he was amazing. Um, I'm gonna take the guy that like was to me the best player that's not a QB I've ever watched. Give me LaDainian Tomlinson.
ooh, okay.
I think like besides a QB, like out of running backs that I have witnessed play the game, I don't know if there's I've witnessed him and Adrian Peterson are neck and neck right there for me. But like LT, I give a little edge over. He scored 31 touchdowns in one season. That's more than anyone else that's not a QB.
Mm,
So LaDainian Thomas and Jerome Bettis, and then my last guy. Hmm. I thought he only had one really good year, but man, he was so fun to watch that year. Give me Sean Alexander.
okay. Okay, I like that pick.
Those three, I could name so many more, bro. But like those three were like huge for me.
Do you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, I'd probably say Cadillac Williams for the Bucks. He had like his rookie season, he was
Mm,
incredible. Mike Allstott, if you want to count him as a
yeah,
halfback, but he's more of
yeah.
a fullback. Those guys were huge. Oh, Jamal Lewis for the Ravens was another big one.
Ooh,
That's
great,
another
great
big
pull. That's
one.
a great pull. Yeah.
For that Ravens squad, yeah.
Oh, yeah. For me personally, my top three favorite backs I watched as a kid growing up. I mean, Adrian Peterson, that's one of the reasons why I was a Vikings fan growing up as a kid. I mean, he was absolutely amazing. 2012 MVP winner, comeback from that ACL tear. Man, crazy. Machine. Number two, I've got Chris Johnson, CJ2K. Back when he went ballistic with the Titans, that 2,000-yard rushing season he had was absolutely amazing. Marshawn Lynch, beast mode, number three. That run versus the Saints in the playoffs, we'll never forget it. And then honorable mentions, two insane running backs in their prime. Jamal Charles and Shady McCoy, LaShawn McCoy.
I just thought of a running back I saw in my childhood. Marshall Falk.
Oh, okay.
That's another one. I was like, oh yeah.
Great. We definitely had a little bit of two different eras of running backs, but nonetheless, they were all great picks.
Yeah, I like. There was a bunch. Those are all good running backs right there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, sometimes I forget about Jamal Lewis. That dude, bro, he was so
insane
good.
player.
Can you
Man,
imagine
he
like
was.
him and Ray hitting each other in practice?
Yeah, yeah. Gosh, oof, be like a freight train and a semi Mack truck.
Unstoppable
But
force hitting an immovable object.
exactly. But let us know down below, guys. Who are your favorite running backs watching as a child growing up? Next topic at hand: who is one player you still wish was in their prime in the NFL?
He's not in the league anymore. Can I use this?
Yeah, go
He
ahead.
should be in the league today, but he's not. Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley.
Todd
Love that
Gurley
pick.
in prime. Todd Gurley was so fun to watch,
Hmm.
and for me, that was a guy. I was like, yeah, it'd be awesome to see him in his prime again,
Yeah.
because he's only 29.
Mm.
Like he's been out of the league for a couple
Wow.
years now. He's only 29.
Too many injuries, unfortunately.
Yeah, he was so fun to watch. I wish he was still in his prime. As an old head, I would love to see Rodgers in his prime again, just because like he's the
Yeah.
only QB I got left.
Hmm.
Russ was a couple years later, but like he's like the only one like really from my childhood left.
Yeah. Man, that era of quarterbacks was amazing too. Drew Brees, Peyton, Tom, Eli, Big Ben, Matt Ryan,
Yeah, I was talking with
Rodgers.
a buddy of mine. I was talking about wide receivers, and I was like, man, I got to see I got to see the end of Jerry. I got to see T.O. I got to see Moss. I got to see Fitz. I got to see Marvin Harrison Sr. Uh, Megatron. I got to watch all the
Hmm.
like top, basically all, in my opinion, the top six best wide receivers of all time. I got to see every one of them play a little bit. I wish I could have saw Jerry a little bit more in his prime, but I
Yeah.
didn't get that. But oh well.
One player that I still wish was in their prime, for me, as a Vikings fan, Dalvin Cook. I
Ooh.
mean, in his prime, he had so many injuries, man. It was unfortunate to see. Out of Florida State, extremely hyped to get him in the second round, and he literally got hurt like his first season, 2 games or 3 games in, was out for the season. But when he came back, he was on a mission and one of the best receiving backs of this generation when he was in his prime and fully healthy. He was a force to be reckoned with, but unfortunately, it was shortened due to injury. Um, but honestly, personally, whenever him and Diggs and Thielen and everybody was on that roster, he was my favorite player over those guys.
That's pretty big.
So I always enjoyed watching him.
I like Dalvin Cook. I like that pick actually. And for me, for several years he was a top three back in the league.
Oh yeah, he was like from 2017 through
About 2020.
2019.
Yeah, he was balling out. Like I was watching. I was like, man. I was still so mad the Bucks passed on him. I wanted Dalvin Cook on the Bucks.
Florida State. Yeah, he was tearing it up as a Seminole.
I think that was, if I remember, I think that was the year after Jameis won the national title. Like
Mm,
he went in the league
yeah,
before Jameis won it.
I believe so. But let us know down below, guys. Who is one player that you still wish was in their prime in the NFL? So, since we both picked Todd Gurley and Dalvin Cook for our players that we still wish was in their prime, who do you think had a better NFL career?
Ooh, ooh. That one's kind of hard now that I think about it. Oh,
Because technically, Dalvin's still in the league, but he's a
yeah.
backup, so he's not going to be scoring a lot or putting up much numbers anymore.
This is like, doubt they both had injuries. I would say Todd Gurley because I would say Todd Gurley was the number one back
Yeah,
in football at some points.
yeah.
So I would put that over him. Even though Dalvin's a top three on a consistent level, I would probably say Gurley just on the fact that he was he was so good.
He was. I will say the closest statistical year they had together in their prime, it was Dalvin Cook. 2020, Dalvin Cook had 17 total touchdowns and 1,600 yards total all
Ooh,
purpose.
that's a good year. That's a real
It
good
is.
year.
And Todd Gurley's best season was in 2018. He had, oh wow, he had 1,700 total yards, but 21 total touchdowns.
Ooh, yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that was a good
these
year.
guys were on a tear, man. I mean, it was incredible to watch. Um, ultimately, yeah, in 2017, he had four less rushing touchdowns, but he had more receiving touchdowns, two more. But I mean, Todd Gurley was on a tear that season, and unfortunately, he got hurt. Um, a couple years after that, never was truly the same. But one thing that Dalvin Cook didn't have, that Todd Gurley did have, um, well, let's see, how many yards rushing did they have for over 1,000 yards? Todd Gurley, 3 seasons. Dalvin had four. But all right, so let me list you the career stats real quick. All right, so rushing yards for Todd Gurley in his career, 6,082 and 67 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook, 6,207 to 47 touchdowns. So Dalvin had more yards, but Gurley had quite a bit more touchdowns. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, man, I mean, these guys, it was like Todd Gurley was entering his prime, and then as soon as he exited, Dalvin Cook entered his prime. So it was like right after one entered and exited, but the next one entered. So it's pretty cool to watch. Oh yeah, but oh, definitely not. No, but yeah, man, that honestly that 2018 season by Todd Gurley, that's incredible. That really just people forget how good of a season he had. Uh,
No, a lot of yeah. He could.
Mesmerizing.
He was so incredible.
Yeah, nearly right at 1,800 yards all purpose. That's wild. And 21 touchdowns. Goodness. But anyways, I think it's close. If I had to pick one, since we were talking about stats, let's pick one player. I would put my bias aside. I would say Todd Gurley had the better career. I think he had the better career overall, even though both of those careers were shortened due to injury, unfortunately. I would pick Gurley.
But Gurley, I give it to Gurley too. I like Dalvin in college a lot, and like we've talked about. I was kind of mad that we passed on him and took OJ
Yeah.
Howard instead. Uh, but oh well. I like. If you ask me which one I like better, I'd probably say Cook. But I think Gurley was incredible.
He really was. But thank you guys for tuning into this episode. Appreciate you. Hope you have had fun enjoying this podcast episode, NFL Week 1. Check it out. Check out our picks and follow the TikTok if you haven't already. Thunder Sports Pod. It's been a pleasure, everybody.
We out. Woo!